I did.
Pierson County Council meeting for Tuesday, November 26th at 6:30 p.m. will come to order. Yvonne, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Gray Leonard.
Here.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Here.
Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
Here.
Town Attorney Christian Law.
Here.
Town Planner Mark Craig.
Here.
And Ryan and I are present.
Okay, Councilwoman Lenny Richardson is going to lead us in the invocation tonight.
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, tonight I want to come to you with great thanks for our wonderful community that we are blessed to live in. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for this glorious day. And I ask you to please bless and protect us all as we go into the holiday weekend. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for all that work here, donate their time here, and serve this wonderful community. Dear Lord, I ask you to please bless this council to give us wisdom and direction for the right decisions pertaining to the whole town. Dear Lord, I ask you please to bless and protect us all. I ask these things in your great name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item of business, item number 4, is the approval of the minutes for the emergency meeting on October 30th, the regular meeting on November 12th, and the regular second meeting on November 12th. Does everybody have a chance to look over those minutes? Are there any additions or deletions? Anybody make a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. Is there anybody a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. All those approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. So carried. Item number 5 under new business. Item A is Chipper Jones Ballpark Field updates and discussion and action. Northwest Louis Little League. Is there someone here? Okay, you come up to the podium.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Link, and I am the co-president with Kelsey Waters for Northwest Volusia Little League. This is going into my 4th year with it. Kelsey just joined me last year, so I was happy to have her come on board. I know maybe some of you know that we did host a fundraiser in this past fall to try to raise some money to help with some field improvements on the baseball fields. We're in the process of being able to replace the infield sods on field 1 and 2 for baseball. They're very unlevel and lots of weeds, and we're always battling sand spurs, and the lips where the grass and the clay meet have been really bad. We've had kids that have been getting hurt because there's just such a gap there. So we're scraping it all out and we're having a professional installation of sod, hopefully mid next week is the plan. So we were able to, we're working with Johnston Brothers out of Bunnell. They were going to be providing the sod for us, and at $1,600. And then we have the labor cost. We have some parents that are actually donating. Well, one parent donated to be able to remove the old sod because he had the equipment to do so and haul it off. And then the Scott Palmer with Superior Sod is donating his crew to come and do a professional installation. And we're providing banners on our fields to thank them for their donation for their work. With that being said, we have to come to the town to see, because, putting in new sod, we need water. So we definitely need to see if we're going to be able to have this timer set on fields 1 and 2 for the infield to see if we can have them watered twice a day for 2 weeks and then once a day for 2 weeks. So that is what has been recommended to us to make sure that it really.
When is that sod gonna be actually installed?
So it will be, the fields will be ready this week, and then he can do it next week. Whenever we tell him we're ready for him to do it, that's when he can do it. So he is flexible as far as timing.
Is there a problem? Do we have our timers on those sprinklers? Okay. Personally, I don't think that would be a problem, irrigating the fields till the sod gets established. Certainly, we don't want it to die.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? Okay. So do you have an actual date?
I would say probably by the second, maybe the 4th, but I can confirm that.
But somewhere around the first part?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as the prep got completed this week, which we'll be in contact with him tomorrow, he was gonna let us know when it would be done. And so as soon as it was done, and we did actually spray it first too to help them. So I think they wanted at least 10 days after spray. And they need 2 days to cut the sod. So I think they're going to cut the sod the 2nd and 3rd, and they'd be able to pick it up to bring it and install it 4th and 5th.
Just make sure that you let us know the day you're going to put that sod down.
Yes.
So we can start irrigating.
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to put it down and then find out 2 days later that it's.
Oh no, absolutely. And like I said, I will know 2 days prior to installation because I have to let the sod company know so they can prepare it. So I will know at least 48 hours before installation when that will happen.
Okay, because we need to know when it's going to be down, and then we can get with our public works team and make sure it gets watered.
Okay. And so I know that we did have other things that we did get done this season. Pierson Supply donated us new dugout screens for all 3 fields. We started with field 1, and then we were gonna, purchase field 2 and 3, and Pierson Supply is a great supporter for us, and they always say it's on the house. Not always, but we always go to them in hopes of of giving our local businesses business. And they're a Grand Slam supporter. They always purchase a banner every year, and they help us out every year. So they have been replaced on field 1. Field 2 and 3 we just got right at the end of our fall season, so we have not put those up yet because the hurricane was coming. So then we had to take down lots of things. So I know the outfield screen on field 1 is coming down, so we're actually going to take that down, and we're also going to look into purchasing new field screen that actually fits on there and will be attached and
That's
look
a
better
good thing
than
because the
what's there.
ladies from Saddle Club have to go tie it back because it spooks the horses when I guess it.
Yeah. So it was done, and then we had the hurricane, and so we're just going to take that down and then start with fresh, good, actual field screen.
Okay.
So we might not be able to do the whole field, but it comes in 50-foot sections. So we figured we'll start with what they call the batter's eye that you're supposed to have at least. So we'll minimally have 50 feet in the middle, so we're directly behind the pitcher, and then work our way out, and then try to do the same thing for softball and the second field too. But
Do you, at one time, Little League had funding, they were supposed to put a roof over the batting cages.
so yeah, so.
Can you tell me?
Yes, so whenever, so I've been in touch with, so whenever Kirsten there was an intermittent person between Kirsten and I, but we've been in contact since I started, and so she had always told me that we had $3,800 that was donated to us towards covering the batting cages. And so we still have that fund, those funds are still there. And we hope that, we're not sure that our fundraiser from this past time will have provided us enough money to be able to do that. But we're hoping, we're going to work on getting some quotes so that maybe our next fall fundraiser, maybe that would be able to be something we could have completed. And we can add to that fund that's already there.
Okay, I was
So-
just curious.
Yes, so we have that. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to add field conditioner to the clay to help with, especially on softball, because there's no infield grass. So there's some low spots, and I know the county did bring in some clay recently that they did kind of build things up, but the field conditioner will help to, whenever there is a lot of water that puddles up, it helps it to absorb a lot quicker.
Okay.
And we can also keep things in our shed to kind of fill in hot spots here and there, but it just makes the clay a lot more workable for them when they're dragging it. It makes it last longer, and it helps with the drainage. So we're gonna, part of our fundraiser for the fall is also gonna be to do the field conditioners for at least field 1 and 3, all 3 if we can. It's $15.50 a bag, and we need like at least 40 to 50 bags per field. So it just depends on how far that's gonna go. So that brings us into our next question. I know that Volusia County had an agreement with the town where they have been maintaining the clay, the town did the grass, and we all kind of work together and know what Little League schedule is, and they always kind of drug the fields and lined them and stuff for our games. So I know that that contract was supposed to be coming to an end, or that was going to be something they were talking about if they're going to renew it or not. So do we have any information with
It
that?
did expire, and we reached out to the county, and they gave us a draft of something, and once it was reviewed by the prior mayor, it kind of left my hands. So I'm not sure what the state of the negotiations was, frankly, between the town and the county. My understanding from the draft that was provided to me is that they were a little more expensive for the services that they were going to be providing.
Mhm.
And so I think that was going to be a matter of negotiation, but candidly, I don't know where it's at this point.
Ryan, what was that figure?
44,000 a year for 4 fields.
Yeah, no.
But the main problem, aside from the price, was that the county basically said, we determine when the fields need to be serviced, and we will do so if we have the manpower and the equipment to do so. So in other words, you pay 44,000 a year and they may not do anything.
You don't have a
If they
guarantee,
don't have
you don't have a guarantee of anything.
And we can't.
But it's out of your
That's
hands
not
at that point.
possible.
I don't know if Christian, we didn't read real deeply into it, but basically there was stuff in there that basically said the town is the town and the county is the county. We're separate entities. In other words, the town employees are not allowed to call the county and say, we need you to come do this. The county, that contract basically said, we make all the decisions as to whether or not the stuff gets done, whether you think it needs to be done or not. And we just didn't really like the
Yeah.
verbiage.
Well, I mean, in us working with the county, we can, vouch for it. It is kind of, I mean, they, most of the time have always pulled through whatever, I mean, we tried to stay on them, about adding the clay to the fields, about making sure that trying to get things where they should be, making sure that their workers were not dragging right up next to the grass and making the lips worse than they already were.
Well, I think,
And at the end of the day, they did come up and they drag it and they would line their for our, games and practices and.
I think in practice, even though we didn't like the wording of it, we should push back and try to negotiate. I don't think it's actually different than what it was. You know what I mean? I think they weren't necessarily under our beck and call, but they tried to work in good faith. I'm not sticking up for the wording. I think we should figure out and get something agreed to if
So
we
that it could be a
can.
little bit more.
Right.
And they did have a worker that, he would work at Chuck Lennon, so he would come up here, and they, like I said, most of the time they would pull through for us. I just know that, because like Chuck Lennon is a county park, so whenever because our senior field, the one in the back, that's the bigger baseball field, it doesn't have lights. So whenever we had our senior games, we would have to, when we were home team, we would have to play at Chuck Lennon if Sperling was not available for DeLand to host. So we would have to pay the county $20 an hour without lights, $30 an hour with lights. So it would cost us like $100 every senior baseball game to be able to host. And if we are, sometimes we'll have a team that needs to practice extra and there's not an extra field. So sometimes the coaches will, we can rent the fields as the league, but then the coaches will kind of pay the fees. But, it's just, there's no way we can pay to rent a field for every practice and every game from the county. So.
And I think, Mayor, maybe what's needed on that is just some direction from the town council on what the next step should be.
Yeah, because
I think our worry is our next season's coming up really quick.
Yeah, so if it did expire and they aren't taking care of it anymore, I know in the off season, when they don't, because whenever we don't, they go by our schedule. They come and drag the fields until our games are over, and then they don't come back. Well, then it's like starting over at ground zero and there's weeds all on the clay, and then it takes them a lot more time to get it back up and running instead of just coming and dragging it once a week to maintain it during our off season. Because our off season now is shrinking because we just finished baseball. Last Friday was our last game.
Start beginning of
Games
February.
and then practices will start end of January. So we literally have like an 8-week downtime before people are back on the fields. So we really hope that they will, continue to try to keep it up. But we just didn't know moving into the next season who our direct point of contact is going to be, as far as is it going to turn into the town doing all of it, and then because we don't have the equipment to be able to drag. We do have some old broken things that we could replace as far as lining the field, but as far as dragging the clay to prep the fields, we also don't have the manpower to be able to do that because it's
Well,
us.
Ron told me that
And-
if push comes to shove, he'll take care of it all himself. So,
That's the problem we have too with manpower. We only have 3 people that work for our town, and they can only accomplish so much in a day.
Mhm.
But would you guys maybe like to put together a workshop to
So I was
talk
gonna
about this?
suggest too. Because there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah,
I think
and
workshop would be great.
I'd like for Vice Mayor to be here when we have that workshop, because
Absolutely.
he's really involved with that.
And we're willing to help and do as much as we can, but and we have some coaches that are more involved and have put their own time and money into help trying to reseed and fertilize the fields and things. So we do have a little bit of help, but I just know that as far as if we have we just
Lining
have
every
lining
game
every
or-
game, getting everything ready. Like I said, we are willing to do as much as we possibly can, and we aren't just wanting people to take over and do everything for us. But we just also want to have a good working relationship with the town as well as the county if they're going to still be in it as well, and just to make sure that everybody's trying to do their part best as they can.
When would you guys like to try to put together a workshop? And I know we're in the middle of all the holidays and all that stuff, but you name it.
It's dark early, I can quit and get up here.
You want to do it like the first part of December? Or, I mean,
Just not the 3rd.
Well, we may have to ask
Not the
Bobby, depending on what his schedule is. He's not here.
Oh, yeah.
let's wait till we can contact the vice mayor,
Okay.
when he gets back in town, and then we'll set a date that's comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
And a time. Is that okay with everyone?
Is that something that you would like for us to attend as well, or is that just a town council thing?
it's open to
It's
the public.
open to the public if you guys want to attend. I mean, but yeah. And then it might not be at 6 o'clock at night, it's probably gonna be at 10 or 11 o'clock in the day, so we can get that done. So, but yeah, they're all open to the public.
You
So-
can have the clerk let you know when it's gonna be, if you would like us to.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just you can send us an email. And so is that the best way for us to send questions or communicate back and forth, is to kind of email to the, what is the email? Is it goes to Ryan? Does it go to you?
Well, it
or-
goes
Yeah.
to both of us.
Okay, so and then you guys have our email. And do you have a phone number for a direct contact as well?
It's in your signature and your email.
Okay, yeah. Just because I just want to make sure, if there is something that comes up and you need to get a hold of us, quickly. I'm usually pretty available all during the day, more so than Kelsey because she's at the school and there's no service there. But if there is anything that's pertinent that's, you need right away, you can always call, and I'm usually able to get back to you pretty quick. So just want to make sure you had that too. We still, go ahead, you can talk. We still have some more goals. We do want some new scoreboards. Our scoreboards currently do not work. I know we've had a couple of different people that have looked at them, and they said pretty much to fix them would be almost what it would be to replace them. So we are going to, we have a few people that we are going to be adding to our board, hopefully, at our next Little League meeting. So we're hoping to designate a person to help really streamline our donations, as well as working on grants through Little League, because Little League does have grants that we can apply for as well. And we're hoping that maybe that would be if we could use those to buy new scoreboards. So that's something that we're hoping to get done as well. And then, of course, the batting cage. We're gonna try to get some quotes so that we know what our goal is for that budget and can try to, like I said, our next fundraiser can maybe get that completed by the end of next year. So.
All right, well, thank you.
The only question I have left is, I know I was told that possibly there was getting quotes as far as replacing the 3 light poles that are like right at the bleachers and by first base on field 1. I don't know if that was true or not, but.
I don't know that we have any quotes on that, but I do know that I looked at those poles two or 3 days ago, and they are getting pretty rough looking around the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think we can also talk about that at the workshop, because,
And we have
need
parents
replacement.
also that, are licensed electricians, and we have different parents that have crane services and bucket truck services and that are willing to donate their service and time as far as helping with the labor part of that, if we can be of any assistance, with that in that way. So.
When we priced them before, it was the price of the poles that were astronomical.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They were huge.
Weren't they 30,000 a piece or something?
It was a lot.
I don't remember what we paid for the last concrete.
It was
pole.
staggering.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah, the one on left field, like by the third baseline, that one was replaced maybe a year ago or so.
And it's not just the cost of the poles. We take the time or then the cost to replace those poles. We probably want to replace the lights with LED lights because they're going to be more economical. But
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss that at our workshop.
And I have reached out to Duke Energy about seeing if we could get on their list of possibly applying for a grant with them to where maybe they would be able to do something with those poles. And we're also actually going to reach out to Clay Electric as well and see if, you never know. So.
Well, if you get something back from them, be sure you let us know.
Yes, I will. So, and I know that when I had talked to them beginning, like back in August or September, they kind of do a lot of their stuff at the beginning of the year. So they said January we'll get back with you and we can go through the process to see if it's something that they can help. So
Okay.
Like I said, we're gonna do it for Try for Duke, and we're gonna try with Clay just to see, and maybe that will get us some help.
All right.
So, okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, next item on the agenda is item 5B. It's the contract with Clear Water Solutions as our water operator, and the discussion and action. I'm going to turn this over to Mark Perret, our town planner.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In your packet is a proposed agreement with CWS, Clearwater Solutions, LLC. They're the selected provider. If you may recall, we went through our pre-process to find a vendor to manage and maintain the town's 2 water treatment plants, the existing one and the new one that's about to go online. We went through this process. CWS was the most qualified responder, and staff, myself, Brian, and Christian were authorized to bring back an agreement. What we're asking you guys to do tonight is to approve the agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. You have in front of you a memorandum that summarizes the agreement, but I'll talk about the part that I think is of most interest to people, which is the financial aspect. So the proposed annual fee contained in the agreement is $27,012, payable in 12 equal installments each month. The agreement does provide for annual provisions for there to be a negotiated adjustment if an adjustment can't be agreed on, then there's a formula that basically ties it to costs, cost of living increases. In addition to the fee, the town is responsible for the provision of power to the two water treatment plants, paying for the power bills, and providing the chemicals. The agreement sets forth standards for the operation and maintenance of the facility, provides for them to keep track of records, to comply with state and federal requirements, to provide emergency services, and also to identify any opportunities to upgrade and enhance the system as they use it. Everything that you would anticipate would be needed in operation of a wastewater treatment plant.
Did I read something in here that they were gonna take over the billing? I thought I saw something about them taking over our billing, this thing, something. I don't know exactly where I saw it.
I looked through it.
I think that is one service that they could provide, but
Yeah, it said routine customer billing and meter shut-offs and turn-ons. Is that included with this contract price?
no.
Under this exhibit A, I don't understand it then because it says the scope of services under exhibit A. If they're not provided, how many of these services are provided?
Well, all of them should be, but if routine customer billing, I think that is probably the only, it's a good question.
I mean, because it talks about that and them taking care of meter shut-offs and turn-ons. I mean, it's all listed under exhibit A, scope of services. So, and that's what my question really goes back to. If they're not gonna do that, what services are they gonna provide?
I felt is this not for, this gonna take over, biometric?
Yeah, they're gonna take over biometrics, they're gonna
So they check the
expand
pouring and
additional
all those
things.
things, every day and do all of those
Yeah.
things, right?
Is this, but under exhibit A, the scope of services, does that mean these services are available? Or is this services?
No,
they're
it's
gonna
meant to
provide?
be what they will do.
That's what I
Right, but that particular thing that you hit on, was discussed, and it was going to be an additional charge to do that.
Do we want them? We don't want them to do that?
I wouldn't say we want them to do that because
I don't know,
our
that's what I-
guys are responsible
Can
for
do the
that,
customer
but maybe they would do it if we wanted them to.
Yes, they did, so, I thought that was struck from the list.
What about meter shut-offs and turn-ons? Do we do that?
Yes.
Yeah, we currently do that.
Do we want them to do that, or do we want? Okay.
But my question really
No,
was.
I agree.
If we don't want them to do it, why is it listed in their scope of service?
Well, if those are the only two things, and I don't know that, but if those are the only two things, then what I think we'd actually be asking you to do is to approve the contract with those two struck through. Because what we originally did is we put as much as possible in there
Okay.
to push onto them. But if those are two things we don't want them to do, then we should just have you approve it subject to striking through those two things. In other words, in their original draft, they weren't going to do a whole lot. We've thrown a ton of stuff in there and they've agreed to it.
Okay. Like, one of the things they say on here is they're gonna respond to alarms and emergency calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, within 2 hours. So if we have a water line break, are they gonna be the ones that are gonna be here to help us fix it?
Emergencies, if the chlorinator's not working, if one of the wells stops working, if we're, those type of things.
Okay,
Yeah, we're still responsible for all of our infrastructure, for our
Okay.
lines and things like that.
They do have the ability to support you if you need to call them in. They have the ability to do that.
and they're, what about this customer meter calibrations and replacements once every 5 years? Talking about them 15% of a year, replace the meter 10 years after that, 10% a year. That's near the end of the agreement.
Yeah. They've agreed to it.
I would say we probably leave that in there in case
Yeah.
we do have an issue with a customer's meter, they can help us troubleshoot it.
Well, I agree, but I mean, they're talking about if we have a problem with a meter, they're gonna replace it.
Well,
They're gonna pay for that, or are they just gonna do?
you're gonna pay for all the
labor, or what?
materials and all that stuff.
Yeah. Are they gonna furnish labor to do it? I mean, why?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will.
So all we have to do is pay the cost of the meter, basically. I don't have a problem with the way the agreement is written up. I just have questions about it, so. I mean, have we, had any type of vote on this before?
The vote was to select CWS and authorize us to negotiate and bring back a contract for you guys to.
We can either, tonight's the time we can either approve this contract or renegotiate it.
You could approve it, you could reject it, you could change it, and then we have to send it back to them for discussion.
You could approve it with changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which is,
Well, the mayor, I would entertain a motion to approve it with the changes that we delete this routine customer billing and meter shut-offs and turn-ons. Because that's something that we do. And I think we probably need to keep it that way. So if we strike through those, I would entertain a motion to.
I move to approve the contract with CWS to, operate our water supply with the exclusion of, water shutoffs and meter reading
customer.
in the amount of $27,012.
You're talking about strike through routine customer
Correct.
billing and meter shut-offs and turn-ons.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yvonne, would you do a roll call vote, please, on this?
Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Gray Leonard.
Yes. Motion's carried.
Now, on this water, now is this more or less the same thing that biometrics was
Yes.
doing for us?
Correct.
Yes.
Nothing different?
Well, hopefully better.
It's
It is different. Yeah. It was aggressively
Well, now-
negotiated.
Honestly, biometrics was good for a long time. Something happened that, messed it up. But for years, I was over there and I was with them most of the time. And they were really good. I don't know what happened with them. But
I don't
I was
think any of
kinda-
us really know what happened, but their services just started deteriorating. And their prices started going through the roof, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard
well,
in past meetings.
things was a lot more expensive and Lewis started getting stuff other places.
You know, a lot of their quotes started being exponentially higher than other companies that we reached out to, which was, and we would ask for itemized breakdowns and they wouldn't send
Did they
it.
bid on this? Didn't they
Yes,
bid?
they
And their
did.
price was,
Higher.
yeah.
I think it was considerably higher.
But for
Remember
years,
that-
their monthly billings were, their monthly fees were very low. Just whenever you asked to do something, they were trying to make up for it in
Parts and.
repair costs and services.
Yeah, okay,
All right, are we ready to move on?
ready.
Next item is, airport overdue invoicing discussion and action, and this is, Deputy Clerk Ryan Smith.
So I had emailed Christian about this. This is Dave Howell, who rents a hangar from us. Actually rents 2 hangars from us. He's habitually late on invoices. As you can see here, we're 6 months behind. So he got wind of it, which is funny because he hasn't responded to any of my correspondence for 6 months, but magically today he came and paid 3 months. But he's still 3 months behind. And we get these phone calls out of the blue and, you know, can we come and can we square up with you guys and can we get this taken care of? But then we don't hear from him for 6 months. So I asked Christian, you know, what do we do about this? When it was 6 months old, you know, do we do a 3-month or a 3-day notice and then do like an eviction? I mean, what do you do? I don't know what the council wants to do, but surely this isn't the first time, like even before the rates went up at the airport, he would just come in and say, here's $300, I'll see you in 6 months. You know, he never really paid an exact invoice amount. He was usually behind. So I'm just not really sure if we want to keep doing this or we just want to keep playing this game with him or.
Do we charge this?
I haven't, but in theory, according to our thing, we could charge a late fee like we do water, which is 10% of whatever the outstanding balance is. But it's hard enough just getting the monthly
Right.
payment.
Right.
I feel like I've dealt with Mr. Howell also years ago when I was on the airport. And, it's my understanding from talking to, another person that keeps a plane here, that none of his planes are operational. I haven't seen any of those planes move in years. And in fact, one of them is under one of our open style hangars. The last time I looked at it was a few days ago and the cowling was off the engine laying on the ground. I don't think any of these planes are operational.
How many does he have?
He has 3 here.
Oh, wow.
He has 2 tie downs and an open hangar. And none of those planes are operational. My personal opinion on this is that we're gonna have airplanes tied down or in hangars at our airports, they need to be flyable. They need to be working. And I think Mr. Howell probably needs to, if there's any way we can process it and evict him for not paying his bills.
Well, I mean, as of right now, he's still 90 days
Yeah,
behind.
yeah,
There's no doubt.
He's
I mean,
behind. He's
in
not
10
paying.
days, he'll be late for December,
I mean,
right? So.
the point I'm making is that you have somebody that's leasing a hangar or leasing a tie down, just pay the tie down fee or pay the hangar fee. And if they're not gonna pay the hangar fee, then they need to go. That's my opinion.
And maybe what you can do as a town council is adopt a policy that says, you know, when something like this has gone to, whether it's 1 month or 2 months or whatever, that we have authorization or the town staff has authorization to send a notice of default and pay by a certain date or you're gone type letter, which we'd be happy to make. But also about the point about the unserviceable planes, I mean, that's absolutely true. You're not supposed to have those sitting around on an airport, and there's Florida statutes about that. So we as the town, I mean, you don't want to incur unnecessary expense, but certainly we'd have to give him 30 days to get the junk out.
Well, none of those planes have moved in years. with the exception of the one that's under the hangar, and that was pushed under there. I have never seen any of them fly, and the gentleman told me himself that he doesn't even have a pilot's license. So,
And like Marcy and Yvonne both said, I don't believe any of it is insured.
Which is part of our policy, right? You have to have insurance.
They're supposed to provide it to us. Correct.
this is open for discussion and action. I think we can take.
Well, I'd like to see Christian, send him notice of eviction.
If he can't pay within 3 days. Or
Yes.
Now, if he doesn't, what do y'all?
I think we ought to send him a notice that he needs to pay in so many days, or he needs to get out of here, and the airplanes need to be operational. I mean, if they're not operational, I don't think our airport is an airport junkyard. It's an airport. And that was one of the problems we had with some things in the past.
Well,
And,
the problem with insurance is that if they don't have insurance, that's not something that can be fixed after the fact. In other words, if a claim arises from something now where they don't have insurance, the company's going to deny the claim, even if they get it later on, and we could still end up with liability, if that makes sense, you know. So when Dixie, for example, doesn't have insurance that also adds the landlord can evict just for their failure to maintain insurance.
well, if we can, Mr. Martell.
May I speak?
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Paul Marshall, 506 North Pine Street. This is a blatant to me. If you're AT&T or water department or anything, any company, Walmart, credit card, you don't pay your bill, forget about it. You're a business. You represent the town of Pierson. You tell this gentleman he's got 30 days, come up with the money, or we're going to repossess his airplanes and sell them. We'll get our money back. And maybe it'll waken up other people who want to play the same game because we're local yokels. Thank you.
I think that's what we've been talking about doing is, the guy's either gonna have to pay or we're gonna, and furnish the proper insurance, or we want him gone.
And have them be serviceable.
They need to be serviceable. I mean, two of those airplanes, I saw a guy working on the blue and white airplane one time. I've never seen any of them crank up. They probably won't crank up. And they're probably not, none of them are certified airworthy because they've been sitting there for years and years and years. So.
Well, let's do that. Let's have Christian. I'd like to make a motion that we direct Christian to send Dave Howell notice of his delinquency and give him whatever time he deems legally possible and begin the eviction process.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded by Jimmy Anderson to deal with Mr. Howell as far as his delinquency on paying his bills. Send him a notice that if he doesn't pay up, we're going to evict him. And if he does pay, he has to have the proper insurance. And, just the necessary documentation that he needs. And the planes need to be airworthy. I think that should be included in it. They're not, we're not an airplane museum or an airplane junkyard. So, is there a second to Lenny's motion? Jimmy, you second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. And item number 5E is next on our agenda, and that's the response from DOT regarding. Oh, I'm sorry. I went right by. Yes. Quotes to install electrical outlets on the town center exterior, discussion and action. And that is, Martha.
Okay, so you know we like decorating for Christmas. We have no outlets on this building outside. So we like to hang our wreath on the top, hang it over the top of the building. And then we like to, we need a couple on the ground for, you know, our manger, different things that we light up. So I had Hub come out to give us some quotes. He was gonna put another breaker in our thing. He was gonna run me 4 outlets on the roof and 1 for each side, and that way we'll have an outlet on that side for like when the Pierson Association decorates the courtyard and stuff and have their thing, you know, they'll be able to use that outlet too. So there you go, there's quotes.
Okay, it looks like we have a quote from Hub Electric to supply 2 outlets on the outside walls, 1 on each end of the building, for $840, and to put 4 GFI outlets to the roof line of the town hall for $1,280.
Is that the only time of the year we're gonna use these roof outlets as for these? Because I'm thinking we may need to find some wireless solar light wreaths or something. I mean, $1,280 is.
I think the only time of the year we probably be using those is at Christmas time.
The ones on the ground I'm all about because they do need them because they run power in these rooms for the vendor market.
The ones on the ground, I don't know if that's gonna satisfy the need of the vendor's market or the Christmas festival. To only have 1 plug on that end of the building.
It's for 2.
It's for 2 plugs, but one of them is on the east end and one of them's on the west end. And, personally, if we're gonna have some outside outlets, I would like to explore the thought of maybe having 2 or 3 underneath our canopy area. Or we could maybe mount them on the poles or something. We already have electricity there feeding our lights.
And I think why it's so much is because, you know, the price of wire is pretty up there. And then he's also, you know, he was gonna have to go up
Oh, I know, that's,
on the roof, go all the way down. I think he was talking about underneath the building for the ones on the sides, just where we don't have, you know, the piping or whatever coming down the roof, or coming down the building.
I think we need to explore the idea of some, solar powered wreaths or battery operated wreaths or something like that. I mean,
They have the wreaths. I think they just would need the lights, right? That's what plugs in is just the light, the candles that go in the middle of them. Right? Did the whole wreath, Scott?
Candles and
The whole wreath,
Oh, it's
yeah.
like that.
Maybe we won't have a wreath this year.
well, $1,280 is a lot of money, and I know that we've got something else coming up on the agenda that's gonna be very expensive.
But if you are wanting more outlets on the ground, so are we gonna table this to get different quotes on this?
I would recommend that somebody make a motion to table it until we get some quotes to, maybe put a couple of outlets underneath of our covered walkway.
Move to table.
Is there a second on that? We need a
Second.
There's been a move to table and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So carried. Okay, now we're gonna move on to item 5E, and this is a response from FDOT regarding culvert at Fifth Avenue, and that's gonna be discussion and action by Deputy Clerk Ryan Smith.
After the hurricane, we had a small culvert wash out on what they call Fifth Avenue, which I guess everybody here knows as the Fox Pins off Hakestrom Road. We weren't even really sure that we maintain that road. It's a dirt road. We can't find anything that says we've ever maintained it. It is a Pierson platted road. It's on a map. But we don't know who put the culvert in, how long it's been there. After it washed out, the Charlie Suber from DOT came and he met with the council and the former mayor. And basically what happens is there is a drainage canal that comes off of 17 by Pierson Supply, and it runs diagonally across that pasture, through that culvert, under that dirt road, and I guess to the lake. So we assume maybe DOT would be responsible for maintenance since it's draining their water off of 17. Heidi Trivet at DOT emailed back, and that's what you have in your packet. She says the ditch is state maintained, however, the area the culvert has washed out in is not DOT or county maintained. This would fall within the responsibility of the county. So even though their water runs through it, they claim that they are not responsible for maintaining it. So.
Well, the culvert's not broke or damaged, I don't believe, right? The culvert's
I
good,
don't
it just
know.
pushed it.
Washed down.
Yeah, it just pushed it further down the little ditch.
So it was probably blocked.
Cause there's trees and, I mean, it's deep. Did you get a chance to look at that?
I have not looked at it.
Oh, yeah, it's deep. I mean, it's down, yeah. It's like the whole entire live oak tree down in it and a cabbage palm tree down in it. I mean, but my thing is the culvert is not broke, so we're not having to pay for the culvert. It's to fix the road and put the culvert back where it needs to be. But I mean, I'm like you. I've looked at the maps because I'm like, I always thought that was Ekstrom's road because that's the only people that use it except
That's all.
kids.
That's
trying to
everybody
not
that
get
uses
on the
it, as far as I know.
Or drunk people trying to get home without the law. I mean, who are we kidding here? But I don't know what we do there.
Has anybody with Alvin Hagstrom approached the town about repairing that road?
They are who contacted us.
They contacted us the morning we got back after the storm.
Yes, to say, hey.
Because they couldn't access their burn and stuff back there.
Well, they can, they have to go all the way around.
But they're used to going around.
Well,
Well, we have no choice then, right? But to get some quotes to fix the damn thing.
I think that that's probably where we are. I mean, that road has pretty much been an open access road my entire life. And, it is a platted street, even though we don't normally maintain it.
Oh, Christian's wrinkled his brow.
No, I just don't know much about it. I mean, yeah, normally platted streets are, dedicated to the public. I just haven't seen the plat. Sometimes, I'm not trying to, well, I'm doing the lawyer thing, I'm splitting hairs, but sometimes a developer on a plat can reserve the roads. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if it is your responsibility.
The only thing I will say on that, as about it being our responsibility, I know that the access from Frederick Street in the past has been locked with their lock on the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to access that road if you're coming.
But it's a dead end, because that was gonna be my next question. If that's a road, do we need to put a sign there that says that's a road,
Well-
Fifth Avenue, and people can just use it? Because it's a dead end road.
Have we
It's
ever
a private
maintained
road
it?
that dead ends at the end of those magnolias down
My
there.
understanding from the former mayor is that it was a platted road, but not a dedicated road, meaning we have never
Exactly.
actually, we've never maintained it as far as he was aware.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to put the cart before the horse and say it is a responsibility just because it's platted. That's not the case. Now, by default, roads that are in plats are dedicated to the public, but not necessarily the maintenance responsibility.
Well, that road has been in existence, but like I've said, it goes through the middle of Alvin Hastrom's property. And there's been a lot of times that gate that you access that road to is locked
On the north
On the
side.
opposite
on the
end.
north end of it. Exactly.
Well, you know
So
what?
that being the case, it's not
It's been,
routinely public access.
there's a gate on the south entrance off of Hagstrom Road. And that gate has been locked before.
Is that the one where the culvert's washed out now?
Yes.
I think where the gate was is a little bit. it didn't
Right, but
wash
it's
it
still
out.
in the same
Mhm.
spot.
Yes.
I just don't think it's the town's responsibility to fix that culvert.
And if it is, I think someone should explain it to us, because I don't know why it would be.
I guess that's my next question. So who's gonna go tell Alvin Hickstrom's that that's their responsibility to fix it?
I'll talk to them.
Here's a question. Say we fixed it and say members of the public were all driving back there, are we gonna get pushback about that? I mean, you can't have it both ways. Do they consider it private for access but not private for repairs? You know, especially if they're locking, I don't know, I'm just asking.
Well, I do know.
How many people use that?
I don't think it's used by the general public on a routine basis, and I do know that I've come up to the gate and it's been locked, and I've came up to the gate and it's been open. I have a key to go through it if I wanted to go through it. I mean,
And I believe there's no trespassing sign on that.
I don't know where the no trespassing signs are, and I know why they lock it, to keep people from going in there and stealing their cars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think they are gonna want it to be a used road.
If it is public, then anytime those fences or gates are there, it's illegal.
Why don't you just vacate it?
Well, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, so theoretically, even if
They
you,
don't have to agree with something, you can just give it to them.
even if the public, in other words, even if you did, you're not saying you do own it when you vacate it. You can say, just in an abundance of caution, we're vacating it. And you often do this when there's title issues and stuff. You're not sure who owns the road. So yeah, that's an option.
I can't imagine that we just own the road out of all that property. All the rest of that property is owned by them.
It's probably, I mean, there's a
I
lot
think
of
if you go
general
see
roads on old
Richard.
flats.
Yeah.
well,
You
I'll
can
talk to Eric.
solve a lot of the problem.
Let me,
I know that they just had Marlin dig in the pond that
Yes.
all of this water run to. They just had him dig out that pond like last week or week before last. There is a substantial amount of dirt right there. Maybe I don't think it would cost them very much, maybe man hours to fix it. There you have the dirt and the culvert, like I said, I don't think the culvert's torn up.
I would like to, have this item tabled until I have an opportunity to talk to, Representative Alvin.
I moved a table response from DOT regarding culvert at Fifth Avenue. Till
Mayor, may I make a
briefing.
suggestion?
Yes, sir.
You don't necessarily even need to table it. You can just put it on the agenda when you're ready again. But if you want to keep it on the next meeting's agenda, I don't know how fast you want to act on it. Just an idea.
Well, it's on the agenda now. How do we go about, just doing that without
No,
tabling it?
you can table
Mr. Mayor, you have a question in the audience?
Yes, Denise.
I have two questions. One, does truly anybody else own any property on that road? Or could they sell a piece of it or something? And is that gonna cause an easement problem later if they sold a part of it? And two, is this drainage ditch or anything causing any problems of the washout on Hagstrom, or is that on the other side?
On the other side.
That doesn't have anything to do with that washout, no.
The answer to the first question is no.
That, every piece of land that's on the other side of that road belongs to Alvin Hagstrom, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Do I need to read?
I think there needed to be a second.
I'll second her motion.
All right, the motion is made and seconded to table the, item E until our next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. You gonna handle this one?
I think this is
Okay.
more of a town planner.
All right. At this time, we're gonna have to, close our town meeting and open a public hearing for ordinance 2024-12. So at this time, the council meeting is closed and a public hearing is open. And I'm gonna turn this over to our town planner, Mark Red.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about, this item, and the next item together. One is a comp plan amendment, and one is a rezoning. They're both for the same piece of property, which is located at, 160 West, Hagstrom Road. It is located on the north side of Hagstrom, and it is, approximately, 0.6 acres in size. I think it's 0.57 acres. I want to call your attention to the two staff reports that are in your packet. One is for the first item, which is the comprehensive plan amendment, and the second item is for rezoning. In your package is a aerial chart which shows the location of the property on West Hagstrom Road. You'll notice that in that particular picture, the property is heavily wooded. And we'll turn to the next page, which shows narrow map, which is a much closer view. So you can see that the property has been cleared. The applicant has gotten some things out of order here, but he's made application for a future land use change and rezoning because he wants to place a mobile home on the property. He's requesting a change from the current future land use, which is medium density residential and conservation, to medium density mobile home. The density is the same between medium density residential and medium density mobile home. The difference is, while medium density mobile home does allow site-built homes, it also it adds in mobile homes as well. And if you're familiar with this location, you know that immediately to the south, there are there's a whole area that is already in medium density and is also zoned for mobile home uses. So he is essentially asking to match the zoning that is immediately across the street. So that's the background of the request. I can obviously go into details on names and zoning questions, just so I know a couple of you are new. The mayor has been on the planning board, so he knows all about this. But the action that's taken here tonight, you're either going to approve or deny the rezoning request. If you do approve the request, we will transmit the comprehensive plan amendment to the Growth Management Commission. Once the Village Growth Management Commission makes a recommendation and acts on this, it'll come back for second reading and your final determination.
So what we're going to vote on tonight is just the first reading, correct? It's gonna
First
have to
reading,
come back for
but
second
both
reading.
sides. I've talked about them together, but you need to do it separate.
But both of them are the first reading, and it's gonna have to come back for the second and final reading, correct?
Correct.
Mayor, to entertain a motion regarding ordinance 2024-12.
If I may, Mayor?
Yes.
We're still in the public hearing portion,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so if there is no one, there could be a motion to close the public hearing if there is no one.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this topic? Okay. Nobody wants to speak. Public hearing is now closed. Now we can call for a vote on this, on
May I read?
number 12, right? And you're gonna read it
Yeah, I'll
in its
read it.
entirety, okay?
Ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance of the town of Pierson, Florida, adopting a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment in accordance with section 163.3187 Florida statutes, amending the future land use map designation for a property totaling 0.57 plus or minus acres located 330 plus or minus feet east of the intersection of County Road 3 and West Hagstrom Road, providing for a change in the future land use map designation for a 0.42 plus or minus acres portion of the property from medium-density residential to medium-density mobile home, providing for implementing administrative actions, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing for an effective date.
I have a question. I thought you said this was 6 acres.
The entire property, no, it's.
He said it was 0.6.
Okay.
6 acres. And that's the entire property. So the portion that's actually being rezoned is a smaller portion of it.
So not the whole thing's getting rezoned, just the one little portion? Thank you.
The only part being rezoned is 0.57.
Yes.
Is that right?
The parcel is 0.57.
Okay, the point
Portion, right, it's got two different designations on it. Okay. So we're actually changing the map for 0.42.
Yes.
Okay, the mayor would entertain a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 24-12.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made to approve by Randy Pierson, seconded by Jimmy Anderson. Yvonne, would you do a roll call vote on this, please?
Councilwoman Brady Peterson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson?
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Ray Leonard?
Yes. Motion is passed. Okay, that's the end of that public hearing. We're gonna reopen another public hearing on ordinance 2024-13. We're now in the public hearing for that ordinance. Mark?
I don't have any additional information to provide. This time, everything I've talked about
Okay.
required applies here.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to have any input on 2024-13?
So I thought that there was a rule that if you were going to have any type of dwelling, it had to be either 1 acre or it had to be designated in like a residential parcel. Is this a residential parcel?
He has more than 1 acre. He has 3 acres.
But
They're
there
just
is-
only
This
trying
says
to.
this is,
There is no, I don't know what rule you're referring to about it has to be. There's different size.
home, you were supposed to have 1 acre or 5 acres. And I don't remember if it was in the county or in the city.
In agricultural, 5 acres, I believe, but that's not an issue.
Anybody else?
And ma'am, would you be willing to state your name for the record, please?
Karen Pittman.
Karen Pillman, you live on East Washington Avenue, correct?
Just a motion to close the public hearing, if that's.
Yeah. Okay, we need to close the public hearing or a motion to close the public hearing on this item.
I move to close the public hearing on ordinance 2024-13.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to close the public hearing. We need to vote on that.
Yes.
All in favor to close the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public public hearing is closed. Now, I think we're ready to take a vote on this. The mayor will entertain a motion to either accept this or not.
I can go ahead and read it if I may.
Yes,
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
An ordinance of the town of Pierson, Florida, amending the official zoning map for a 0.42 plus or minus acre portion of real property totaling 0.57 plus or minus acres located 330 plus or minus feet east of the intersection of County Road 3 and West Hagstrom Road from the R3 medium density single family residential zoning classification to the MH2 medium density mixed residential zoning classification, providing for implementing administrative actions, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, let the record show that ordinance 2024-13 has been read in its entirety by Attorney Christian Waugh.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-13.
Second.
Second that.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Randy Peterson to approve 2024-13. It's also been seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll roll call vote on that, okay?
Councilwoman Brady Peterson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson,
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Gray Leonard.
Yes. At this time, we're going to close this public hearing. And at 7:41, we're going to reopen our council meeting. We're ready to move on to item H, discussion of the record room location, discussion and action. I think Councilwoman Peterson had talked about putting the records room in one of our classrooms. What's that building number, do you know?
Well, our record room currently is right here in this, I'm not sure what.
Our records are in there, and we're talking about making some improvements on that, right?
Yes. That's why the last meeting we tabled the air conditioner units, mini split units for that room.
Okay, we've got some quotes on, I think they're in your package, on mini splits and,
We're jumping
ma'am,
We're jumping ahead.
I am.
This is about the location discussion.
Well, the location discussion is we talked about putting in that classroom, and I don't have any problem with putting it there. I thought that was a decided matter.
What classroom? I thought we were leaving it where it was. We're moving it to a different place than where it currently is?
You're talking about currently where the records are at right now as we speak. No, I'm not
Correct,
talking
that's
about
where
moving.
that's where we originally planned to have the record room, yes.
That was my fault, from my understanding. I thought we were discussing about air conditioning that room.
Air conditioning that room because it is a record
Because
room.
it's a record
It
room.
has to be air conditioning,
Yes.
but I wasn't discussing changing. I mean, that's for you to discuss, but I didn't.
I don't want to change it.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with where it's at.
The record room location is perfectly fine with me. My intent on this was to discuss the, not the location, but the things that need to be done in that record room to air condition it and also fix the roof.
All right, that'll be, well, the roof we don't have on here, but the air conditioner is gonna be done under old business, so we'll get to that.
Okay, then I don't have any problem with the record room right where it's at. I don't have any discussion on it, I guess. But my discussion was to talk about the air conditioning. And I guess that should be probably under old business. Yeah, okay. Next item up is also is item number I, 5I, street drainage and culvert locations, discussion and actions. During the past hurricane, we had a lot of drainage issues on our streets. We had water overflow in some of our streets. And I've gone out and looked for some of our culverts in those areas. I can't find any culverts. I think the culverts must be completely covered up. And, what I would like to see happen on this is get our culverts located and clean them out so we can have proper street drainage. One of the main ones I noticed was at Frederick Street and Washington Avenue where the health clinic is. The water was running over the road there, it wasn't flowing out. And I think we have an issue on Washington Avenue by the school fence. It's
That whole
it's
piece right
between
there.
Fern Street and the health clinic, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a hole back in that.
There's a hole there, the water's going somewhere.
We put the dirt where Kalen filled in that side, there's back a hole in the middle of that dirt that he put in there. I
I
just
saw that.
noticed it today.
And I don't know if that's because there's a manhole cover right there near that area. Maybe that manhole's been compromised and the water is going through there and washing sand in with it at the same time. But I think we need to check out that manhole. Is that a town manhole, Jimmy, or do you know?
I don't know about that, 'cause that's something that we've never had an issue with.
I mean, that manhole cover's been there forever and ever, yes.
That was never an issue.
Do we know who
I
that?
know over there on Washington, by Muller's, them culverts there needs to be, get the county to come and blow them out and run that machine through there and get all the dirt out. A lot of that water would go,
It goes
where it
north, if
needs
I'm
to
not
go.
mistaken. It runs north, if I'm not mistaken. What about, are there culverts on First Avenue at the railroad track? Because that was another area that was totally flooded.
By the clinic, or by the.
Yeah, by the,
Yeah, whatever.
therapy.
Physical therapy,
office.
yeah.
Do you know if there's culverts there, Jimmy?
there's supposed to be one that comes across before the railroad track.
We need
But
to,
I've never actually seen one, but they're supposed to be.
Well, it's a prime time of year to do little projects like that. The mowing season is diminishing. I think we need to let Public Works make it a priority to locate and identify all our culverts and get them in proper.
I agree, that's kind of where I was headed, and I agree with you 100%, because we have places where I know there's culverts, but if you look there, they're basically non-existent because they've been covered up. And one of those culverts is also one on Third Avenue. I would say just about where the Lutheran Cemetery ends, there's a culvert that runs under that road. And the only reason I know there's a culvert there is because it was there when I was a kid. And that thing is completely covered up. There's culverts on Blake Street between Washington Avenue and, was it Franklin, the next street down, that completely filled up. So I think Public Works needs to locate and identify all these culverts.
And once we get the culverts, we need to,
Functioning, yeah.
when we get culverts, we need to clean some ditches.
I agree.
Because our
That's
ditches
part
have
of it.
not been maintained.
That's part of it, is cleaning it, but we need to locate the culverts and clean the ditches out, so we don't have this drainage problem in the future.
You said ditches.
You thought.
I tell you, that's not what I heard at first. Okay.
That's my accent, I'm sorry.
I want to get on the bad side.
We have some extra shovels. If you want to. So, I'd like to direct Public Works to, start working on that and locating the culverts. And it may be the point that we're gonna have to, explore in the future, at the next meeting or two, on how we wanna go about cleaning those ditches out, because we don't have the equipment to clean them out if it's gonna take much more than a few shovelfuls.
I have researched some, and to rent a ditch digger for a week is not very much, isn't it? It isn't what you think it is. It's like $275 a day.
Is that for like a mini
A
excavator or
little,
something
yeah, a
like
little
that?
small one. And we only look at one
Provided
price.
our guys know how to operate it, but, you know, I mean, I don't wanna see anybody get hurt because they don't know how to operate one either.
Well, I think it's kind of like a tractor where you can push the same little buttons and
Nice.
stuff. So.
I've watched people operate them, but I've never operated one. So let's make that a priority, coming up to locate these, culverts and see about getting our ditches cleaned out. We all agree on that?
Yes.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I don't think so.
The next item on our agenda is item J.
Marcy had some.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you get with me, I can make some more orders on if you've got the
Okay.
addresses you want them to look at.
Well, it'll probably be more intersections than it will be streets.
Well, yeah. That way they'll have direction.
Okay,
Where to start looking.
it's gonna be a lot of work orders. And I'll take any input from anybody on the council too. I would love to have that, so we'll kind of consolidate our ideas on where this needs to happen.
Mayor, may I ask you about that? So is it like making a list of the intersections?
Mhm.
All right, as long as y'all aren't, just for the record, communicating
No,
directly
I'm just
to
talking
the.
about something in writing up. You might want to
Yeah.
look at this read.
Okay, yeah, and submit it to like town hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what they're trying to do is put everything through work orders so the boys know, and they're not just getting a phone call from me or Jimmy or Lenny or somebody to, hey, go do this and this and this.
I like that.
But
We
they
have a paper trail, we need a paper trail.
Yeah, yes, paper trail.
Well, I think that's a good idea. That's another way, because we'll ensure that all of them have been checked if we do it that way also. Plus, we'll get paper trail. Is there any more discussion on our drainage? The next item up is item number 5J, the foundation washout on building 10. I don't know if any of you guys have walked behind and looked at building 10. Where the retention pond is on the west side of building 10, it's really, really bad. It's washed out probably below the foundation.
I'm assuming that happened during the hurricane, because
I think that did happen during the hurricane.
There was
back there.
There was a little bit of a channel there before, but nothing like that. So I think it's
What has happened there, there's two drains that come off of that roof on the west side. One of them, there's a big piece of, there's like a concrete slab under it, so the water hits that and runs off. And where this is washed out, there is no concrete pad there, so the water just poured off of that roof. And it's probably washed out at least 3.5 feet deep and 5 or 6 feet wide.
Is that a big culvert in there? What is that?
I don't have any idea. That pipe comes out from underneath building 10. It's probably a 10-inch PVC, maybe.
It should be a drain from some of these.
It's a drain coming from somewhere because it drains into that pond.
Yeah.
if you look all around the campus, there's like these little recessed drains, like in the ditches behind the buildings and stuff. My guess is at some point they all probably dump in there and flow out to those retention ponds. We've never located them to see where they go, but I know we've got them in the parking lot, they're behind all these buildings, there's some in the courtyard, there's one behind the cafeteria. So my guess is they all dump into one
Dump
big
into
pipe
that
somewhere.
and drain out.
Well, that's kind of what I was assuming as well, but that wasn't the cause of the washout. The cause of the washout was the water running off of that roof.
Which may mean that the drains in the roof are clogged. Eventually. Because the roofer that came before told us that those flat roofs back there have like built-in drains that are supposed to come down and out. So maybe after years and years, they just haven't been maintained, but I've never.
So like a gutter kind of thing that.
It's almost like a built-in gutter that comes off those flat roofs and goes out. And the roofer did tell me to keep those roofs in good shape. He would have to keep those cleaned out to keep standing water outside.
So the square drains that you can visibly see, are those like a secondary drain then?
Don't know.
I don't know either. I have asked to have a representative from Universal come over is December the 4th and look at Building 10, just to see what's going on there. Because it also looks like there's some damage related to water on the edges, on the side of that building as well. And I think we just need to kind of know what condition that building's in and what we need to do to correct it. If that,
I would hope that building would be the best building we got, because it's the newest one, and
It is the newest building, but there's definitely some signs of some water damage on that building, on the exterior of that building.
that's good that they're gonna look at it and let us know.
So I think we'll know more about it once the guy from Universal, the engineer from Universal, looks at it and kind of gives us an idea what we need to do to make sure that building
Right, what's
doesn't
the
fail.
cause and what's, right. Okay.
And that's all I had to talk about on that. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. And I want some input. Do you think we need to go ahead and fill that up currently, or do you think we need to wait until after the engineer looks at it? My view is to wait.
Yeah, I would say to wait.
Yeah, I would let them look at it. It's only a week, it's only less than, a week.
It's only a few days off. And it's gonna be pretty difficult for our guys to get to with a tractor, I think, because there's not a whole lot of room back there.
Is there any traffic that goes around there at all? Or
No.
foot traffic?
Well, anybody could walk around there, and I think we probably ought to at least put
That'd be the only thing I'd say.
standing barricades or something there to
Some
keep,
yellow
to discourage
tape,
anybody from going back there, some tape or whatever.
Yeah,
You
we
never
ain't got
know.
very many barricades.
I agree.
We've had lawsuits from people, quote unquote, tripping on the sidewalks.
Well, this is a little bit more than a trip.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I think we probably need to put some caution tape up, and maybe if we have a couple extra, there's orange and white barricades in
Yeah.
there. Can you guys take care of that, Chris? Is there anybody else? Kelly Green.
Kelly Green, 570 North Pine Street. Have you thought about making a claim on the insurance if you can determine it's hurricane damage?
We still have our claims open on that, so that would definitely be something
I
that
think
we
that
could
we
add
need to
to
do
it.
that.
Save the town some money, and it sounds like that's what it is. So no, don't fill it in either. It's
Right.
check.
Right.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. I'm glad you brought that up.
You know, that's a good idea. Even if it's not hurricane, it may be covered under the regular liability type insurance. I mean, your premium with Brown and Brown, I forget how much it is, but
It's expensive.
yeah, it's really expensive. So that's a great idea, and I would check both, to be honest.
You just start making claims.
Well, that's what it's there for, and I mean, it is unforeseen. It's not like it is, you know.
We didn't plan for that to happen.
Yeah.
They may even be able to help us out if there's hurricane damage to that roof as well. And that's maybe something that the gentleman from Universal can help us with when he looks at it. Anybody else in the audience have anything on that? Anybody? You got it? Okay. We're gonna move on to 5K, it's the Duke Energy electric vehicle charging stations, discussion and action. And I'm gonna turn this over to our town clerk, Yvonne Braddock.
All right, a few weeks back, we were contacted by Duke Energy about possibly in the town of Pierson putting an EV station in. In your packet is the presentation they gave us when they talked to us on the telephone. And I'm bringing it to council to see if they are interested or not interested. It is, they pay for everything. We pay for nothing.
Isn't this something that's being mandated, that there's EV
They're
stations
doing
gonna
it
have to
to
be?
try to get it that people, because how they said, like, if somebody's in St. Augustine coming here and they have an electrical vehicle, there's nowhere for them to charge their vehicle. So they're trying to make them.
Basically, what the Duke Energy rep said is that when they started putting in these charging stations, the Public Service Commission told them you can't just go throw 100 charging stations in metropolitan areas. Like, if we're going to give you the permission to do these contracts, then a certain percentage of them have to be in an underserved area. So what the Public Service Commission has come up with is they want a charging station every 20 miles. So what they do is they pull up a map and they look around and they go, okay, where's there a 40-mile stretch where there's no charging station? And so they landed on us as one of them. The other caveat is it has to be on public land, which is why they approached us. They're trying not to do it on private property. And obviously, I'm sure for conflict of interest, they're not approaching people like gas stations and whatnot. So the way they kind of explained it to us is it's a 10-year agreement. They service everything. They pay for all the power. Really what they require is a well-lit, easily accessible area that they can put 5 parking spaces. It's actually 4 parking spaces, but one is extra width because of ADA compliance. So it's 3 spaces in an ADA compliant space. So they looked at it on a map with us. They like the parking lot up front that's out by 17 and First.
They like the restaurants in the area because while you're charging
They
your car,
want
you
to-
can walk to a restaurant or a little store or a market.
So my only thing is, at the end of 10 years, you can either, they give you the equipment and you continue doing it yourself, or they have the option that they can keep the equipment and keep it running, or if you decide in 10 years, hey, this isn't working out, we don't want this, they'll just come take it away. They claim that it's no charge to the town regardless of which option you choose, but you're also really not getting, I mean, you're benefiting the public, but you're not really, the town itself is not getting anything out of the deal. So I said maybe if they're gonna repave 5 parking spaces, maybe they could work something out where they refinish that front parking lot for us. And if they agreed to that, maybe in exchange for that, they get a 10-year contract. I don't know if they'll go for it, but it's just a thought.
And 3 new poles.
What's that?
And 3 new poles.
3 new poles.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, 3 new light poles for the ball field.
Well, I will tell you, they were concerned when they first looked at the map about the cost. They said, well, we'll have to come up there and look because it looks like there's not 3-phase power there. We would need that, and so we don't know if we would be able to front the cost of, you'd have to replace poles from Washington all the way down here. But then as we were looking at it, they realized there is a 3-phase power transformer right here behind the cafeteria that ran the school property. So then that made them take a second look at this, because then they said, well, then all you have to do is run a pipe from there under the parking lot, and we would have power right there. So they are, in some areas at least, they are considering putting expense into getting power to a location and putting up poles. So I mean, if they're going to spend money on that kind of infrastructure, maybe they'll, if they've already got someone here resurfacing a parking lot, maybe they'll do it. I don't know. It's worth asking if we're interested.
I think if we're interested, when we talk to them, number one, we need to see if they're willing to repay that entire parking lot, not just 3 or 4 spaces. However many.
I mean, it would look kind of weird if they only did 3 or 4 and the rest of
I agree.
it was.
I mean, I think that should be one consideration, and then we can always ask them about the white poles. They may not go for that, but
I'm sure they'll laugh at us about that.
but I'm thinking at the very least, if we want to consider doing this, I think they need to repay that entire parking lot, not just 3 or 4
At
spaces.
least just research.
Did our lady rep do this with you? This was totally not
No,
her.
this is.
No.
an
So even if
entire-
they're not interested with the polls for Duke, we need to reach out to her.
We can reach out to her. Yeah.
Michelle, yeah.
No, this is actually this is called the Florida Park and Flood Program, so we talk to people who are over this specific program. So.
And did they work with Duke? I mean, they work.
I mean, it is Duke, it's a division of Duke Energy. It's a program they're running.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there going to be a charge to the people using the stations, or is it going to be?
Yes. Yeah, but Duke Energy would make all of that. We don't get any kind of franchise fee or anything like that from them. So.
So you have to pay to charge your car?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
you
kind of
have
like paying
Just
to
like
fill up your
gas.
gas.
There are a lot of places where you don't, like the ones in the land at the tag office, there's no charge for that.
The county gets
Just,
to
just the
kick back.
taxpayer.
Yeah.
Just the taxpayer, there you go.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Paul Montel, 506, not mine. How many of you own an EV vehicle? How many of you have seen EV vehicles in the town of Pierson? People that own them here, live here? So they're gonna leave their house, gonna park over here, charge their vehicle, and go home. Is that how it operates?
Yeah.
You gotta be pretty intelligent.
The thing about it is for people that are driving on the road, they're a fast charge electric, charging station. It's not a charging station that they have to leave it plugged in there overnight.
Well, if it's free from the government, and it is the government, you better be checking your X's and Y's and crossing your T's. Because somehow or another, it'll come back, it's gonna bite us. And plus, now we got a new president, and I don't think you're gonna see that many around. Thank you.
Well, Nancy Road, we had a company with an electric car. We had to go all the way to Port Orange to find available charger. Some of the land at Arrow. But no, they wouldn't do that particular type of vehicle, Tesla.
No.
Those are, so any kind of charging station would be not just for us, but our company, our people that come into the town.
I think the way that they look at it too is, okay, so we have a vendor market here once a month. Someone in Eustis says, hey, I'd love to go to Pierson and check out their vendor market. So they open their app and they go, is there a place for me to charge my car once I get there? If there's not, why, they might not come here. Same for the rodeo, same for a ball game, same for the 4th of July. So yeah, it would benefit people in town that have an electric car. I know the former mayor's son has a Tesla. So, you know, there are people around here that have electric and hybrid cars. But also, you got to think of the people that pass through here that might overlook Pierson because, well, I can't charge my car there. You know, I'm not going to venture too far that way. I mean, I know we have them in Palm Coast where I live, and like Denise said, they're all over DeLand and places like that now. We are, according to Duke Energy, within a 20-mile radius of Pierson, there isn't one. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Too, we gotta think of it too, when there's a hurricane coming in there, South Florida's evacuating, I'm not part of that, but they gotta charge them. You know, I think, from what I understand, you only get like 300 miles of charge. They gotta have a place to charge them. And if it's not gonna cost us anything, why not?
I don't think we need to make a decision. I don't think, we don't need to make a decision on this tonight, I don't think. Unless you guys want to. But I think that we need to approach Duke Energy before we make a decision on this to see if they will pay for our parking lot for us and some other things.
I think that does require your approval. In other words, if you want to go to them and say, they're going to tell you to pound sand unless it's a negotiating position. In other words, so I don't know, my recommendation to y'all is just to authorize the town staff to have a negotiating position, whether it's repaving the program and giving 3 poles as a starting position and your minimum, and then giving a fallback. We'll take it if you repave the whole parking lot. And if they're not willing to do it, it comes back to you, you know. But that's, and I've talked about it with town staff as well, and I liked Ryan's idea on that. So.
I did, I also
Yeah.
did.
I move forward with the Duke Energy EV charging station for the town staff to discuss with Duke about paving the entire parking lot and the 3 power poles and bring this back to council.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Randy Peterson. Everybody understand the motion? We're gonna approach Duke Energy about this and also our paving our parking lot and replacing our repair poles. Motion's made, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. The next item is item number L, and I'm going to turn this over to Yvonne. It's an agreement for our printer, copier, scanner, renewal discussion.
Okay, we use a company named Rico for our printer, and they contacted me and told me basically in December that the printer that we have right now it's reached its time, its limit, and it's time to move on. So they've given us two options. The first option is of a new one, and the second option is of a green one where it's a rebuilt option.
So the 60-month lease for $84.75 a month is for a brand new one.
That's what I was gonna ask.
How big is this
Monstrosity.
It's
Okay.
giant.
thing? I mean,
It's an all-in-one, it's a printer scanner, you know, it's the size of that podium.
I'm just surprised, we have, in my office, just a lot less. I'm just surprised at the rate.
What are we currently paying for that one that we have?
80 something.
84.
This one is $84.75. Is that what the new one would, of the new
No, the
lease?
new one's 90.
The first one is the.
The first one is, I guess, the refurb one, which is 84.75, and then the second one is the new one, 92.43. And I will say that this package includes the toner, the color toner refills, so.
Includes everything but the paper, basically, right?
Basically.
Now, is this scanner bigger, better for, we're gonna have to be scanning lots of stuff, so, right?
Are we? It'll scan 11 by 17, but nothing like massive, but it'll scan ledger size paper.
Like, how many per minute? Like, is it a fast scanner? It's not.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, if you gotta scan a records room, then I'm just trying to help you guys out.
I mean, we could find out, I could look. It doesn't have it detailed on here.
That's another discussion within the record room software storage.
Well, nonetheless, we're gonna have to have a printer, copier, scanner
Oh, yeah.
in our office.
And I tried to contact a lady that walked into the office last week from Sharp, and she said that she does this for Crescent City, but she does not return my call or my email.
This Rico, that's what we're
That's what
currently
we're
using now.
Christian, what brand do you use at your office?
It's not Rico. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what it is. It's like this. I just looked this one up. It's pretty similar.
Yours is cheaper?
It's cheaper, not the monthly payment. The monthly payment is similar, but for many fewer months. So over the lifetime of this is $5,000 on the first one. You can buy one for $3,700, but it doesn't come with the service. If you're saying this comes with a service.
Yeah, this comes with all the toner and everything, because those toner cartridges are like $100.
Yeah, and you'll run through them, so.
Or if something happens, is it kind of for them to come
They come
fix
fix
it?
it.
I mean, it's true, you can probably buy one cheaper, but you're gonna have to have all your ink and your toner and so on and so forth, and then if it breaks, you're gonna have to pay somebody to come out and look at it and hopefully fix it.
As you can see from your packet, we do a lot of printing.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've gone through 3
So which
reams of
one do
paper.
you all prefer? Which one?
I'm gonna say for the price, I would go with a new one over a
Yeah.
refurb because
There's very little, $12
$12
difference?
difference.
Yeah, not even $8 difference.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation, hasn't it?
I mean, I make a motion to approve the Rico copier 60-month lease at $92.43 for Rico IMC 2510 configurable PTO model.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made to, by Councilwoman Brandy Pierson to go with the new Rico printer copier fax machine for the cost of $92.43 per month, seconded by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, next item is item number M, this is resolution 24, 2016. It's been discussed at a previous meeting. It's a waiver of permit fees related to Hurricane Milton.
A resolution of the Town of Pierson in Volusia County, Florida, providing for waiver of certain application, permit, and plan review fees for repair and reconstruction of commercial and residential structures that sustain damage directly related to Hurricane Milton. Providing proof of storm-related damage, providing permit application must be submitted by February 28, 2025, providing an effective date.
Well, this was discussed at a previous meeting, and I think most of the council members were in favor of that. So at this time, I'd like to ask if there any motion to approve.
Move to approve resolution 2024-16.
A motion to approve 2024-16. Is there a second?
Yes.
Seconded by, motion's made by Lenny Richardson, seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. Call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Need a roll call.
Need a roll call on this? Okay. Yvonne, would you do a roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
Before we vote on this, there's a question in the audience.
I was gonna say, when they talked about it before, there was mention of backdating it previous to Helen, and there was dates mentioned, like, had to have, what happened, but I don't know.
This one is retroactive. This one's retroactive to October 10th, which is Milton.
Milton only.
And yeah, because no one ever came in and said they had any kind of structural damage from Helen. So it's retroactive October 10th, and it runs through. I gave until February 28th because that was about 90 days. But they do have to have some kind of evidence, either a letter from insurance adjuster, photos, something along that lines. I based it a lot off of what people like Oak Hill and Lake Helen and other little municipalities were doing. So.
They do have to have like photos or some type of documentation.
They have to prove somehow
showing that it was hurricane related, hurricane.
Now we've had 3, and they were all kind of a formality. Duke required them to get their customer installed power pole inspected before they would reconnect the power. So it wasn't even construction per se. The pole was fine. It was just that Duke wouldn't reinstall power on it until they knew that it was structurally sound. But other than those 3, we haven't had anyone come in with anything related to damage. So.
Anyone else before we call for the vote? Yvonne, would you do a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Brandy Pierson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson,
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Graylick.
Yes. Item number N, surety bank account changes, additions, deletions for current council members and staff, discussion and action by Deputy Clerk Ron Smith.
So I put a couple little notes in your packet. I talked to Surety Bank. To change the signers on the account, they won't just accept the certified election results. They need meeting minutes where we motioned the exact changes. So I kind of just wrote them down for you, so someone will have to make a motion. Basically what we're doing is we're removing everybody is an authorized signer with the exception of the mayor, the vice mayor, and Lenny, who's head of finance, the finance committee. So we're removing Sammy, and we're also, for some reason, the bank still has Carmen on everything. They've got her phone number, her name, even though we've asked them repeatedly to change it. So in the motion, I'm also asking for you guys to allow them to change all of the account contact info, all of the, whatever it is. There's some other system at Surety that her information is in, even though we've changed it on our side. And then also to authorize Yvonne and I just to be authorized contacts on the account. That way, if we have a question about a deposit, a check, you know, we won't have signing power, but we'll at least be able to discuss matters with them. And since we're talking about it, I'll go ahead and basically summarize 5.0, which is the next page, and that's for Truist. That's our town credit cards. Same thing. The mayor's going to have to go to a Truist location. So I'm thinking the best thing to do is send him with the minutes and the certified election results to also add himself to that, and also remove Carmen because they still have her name on the credit cards too. So anyway, just a sample on those sheets of what the motion probably needs to read. So, and if you have any questions.
And these are our correct account numbers on there, I'm assuming?
Yes.
The Truist Bank, is that only credit cards?
Truist is just credit cards, yeah. It used to be, before it was Truist, it was BB&T.
Right.
And so our original general fund account was there, and there was some money in that account. We withdrew it and closed that account, so the credit cards are all that are left.
Okay, and we moved everything over to Surety, right?
Everything else is with Surety.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to take action on these things as printed and read by our clerk Ryan Smith. Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll need someone to read it. Probably.
We need
You want to
somebody
read
to
it for
read
you?
it.
I'll make a
Notes
motion.
in the minutes.
All right.
Okay.
I thought that he.
I make a motion that we authorize David Gray Leonard, Robert F. Greenland, Lenny R. Richardson as account signers and remove any other signers, adding Evangelist Yvonne Braddock and Thomas Ryan Smith as authorized contacts to discuss account information. Also updating contact information to the current address and removing all instances of Carmen Spalozzi from these accounts.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Brandy Pierson to authorize David Gray Leonard, Robert F. Glennon, and Lenny R. Richardson as account signers and removing any other signers, adding, how do you pronounce that, Yvonne?
Evangelista.
Yvonne Braddock and Thomas Ryan Smith as authorized contacts to discuss account information and updating contact information to the current address and remove all instances of Carmen Spalozzi from the following accounts. 196-201-1647, 196-201-1654, 196-201-1662, 196-201-1670, and 196-2038186. Is there a question on that, or are we ready to call for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. The next item is Truist Bank. So I'm ready for a
Straight to the
motion on Truist.
I make a motion for Truist Bank to add David Gray Leonard as an authorized contact and cardholder, adding Evangelista Yvonne Braddock and Ryan Thomas Ryan Smith as authorized contacts to discuss account information, updating contact information to the current address and removing all instances of Carmen Spilozzi, removing and closing card ending in 7892.
Motion is made on the Truist Bank. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made on the Truist Bank, second by Lynn Richardson. The motion is to add David Gray Leonard as an authorized contact and cardholder, adding Evangelista Yvonne Braddock and Thomas Ryan Smith as authorized contact to discuss the account information, updating contact information to the current address and remove all instances of Carmen Spilozzi, and removing and closing the card ending in 7892 for the following accounts ending in 1327, 3820, 4818, 8515, and 8922.
If I may, whose card ended in 7892?
No.
Oh, Sammy's.
Which, so what was Carmen's?
Carmen's is gone.
Carmen's has been gone, but she's still an account contact.
Okay, okay.
We're ready.
Carmen's was like 7531 or something like that.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Mayor's vote aye. Okay, item number P, updates by the mayor. I don't really have any updates at this time. If I think of something, I'll come back to it. Q is updates from our county attorney, Mr. Warren.
Just one thing, I was convinced not to add this to the agenda, but I think that was wise. And so there is something going on, there's a dispute going on with our waste collections provider as to whether or not they have exclusivity for commercial collections inside the town. So as you may recall, years ago, 3.5 years ago, people were unhappy with our waste provider and the collection provider. And so the town council decided to put out for RFP, and there were 2 bidders. The new one was substantially more expensive, so the town stayed with the old one, who had rebid it. And a dispute's now arisen between a commercial company and a commercial account here in town. They want to have a different company service them. But is it GFL now?
It's GFL.
GFL believes that it has a monopoly on commercial service inside the town. And that's not my opinion, based on how the contract reads, but it very much is GFL's opinion. And it's not something right now that is, I think, for you to have to be involved with, but I did want to let you know that.
Is this regarding a dumpster?
Yes.
So the person that owns this dumpster wants a different company to service their.
They're not getting the service that they think.
They don't think they're getting what they paid for.
So they wanted to change companies, but I believe the company they want to change to is indeed an apparent sister company of the existing.
I honestly don't know anything about that. All I know is that the company believes it has a right to something that most of us don't believe it has a right to. But it's not something before you, and I don't want y'all to.
Okay.
Before it's on the agenda, but I think it will come before you eventually. So I just wanted you to know.
I think the other awkward thing about that is that GFL is also claiming that they just can't release them from their contract, but there's nothing, from what I saw in our contract, that says if you sign up for GFL, you permanently have to keep GFL, and you should be able to cancel that whenever you want to. And that is the issue GFL is currently giving them. They're saying we can't release you from this contract. Well,
that for sure.
What if I don't want a dumpster anymore? Period.
Yeah, that for sure is false.
Does the GFL contract that they have with the customers in the city, does it have anything directly to do with the people that have their dumpster serviced by a waste company?
I guess I don't understand the question.
In other words, we have a contract with GFL to take care of all of our residential customers.
Yeah.
Does that also include that we have to have GFL take care of all of our
Well, so
commercial?
that's the dispute, Mayor. They believe yes, I believe no, in terms of it being mandatory. So it's kind of it's just going back and forth right now. I just wanted you to know that the issue is there. Again, I don't want to have a discussion without it being on the agenda,
Okay.
but I think it's going to come up. That's all.
All right. Item number R, updates from town planner, Mark Correct.
I don't have very much to report this evening. I was here on November 21st and met with several individuals to talk about their land use and zoning items, and I'll be back on December 5th to do so.
That's it? All right, we move on to, number 6, A, old business, records room and air conditioning, Councilwoman Brandy Pierson.
I have this on the agenda. These guys have done the quotes and talked to the people, so Ryan or Vaughn, do y'all wanna lead off here?
Talk to him, you talk to him, I don't talk to him.
They all know that I'm off tomorrow, so.
Yeah, we're giving it all every day.
Okay, so, originally we started asking about mini splits because we had, Heritage Heating and Air who fixed some stuff here for us at Town Hall. Recommended maybe in the future as air conditioners around the campus went out, we just replace them with mini splits in each room. Then we got into all kinds of conflicting information. Some people say that there are a lot of maintenance. Some people say it's harder to get parts. Some people said with the size of that room, they were concerned that a mini split wouldn't pull enough moisture out of the air in there. So the humidity might be a problem. So originally I was having everybody quote both ways, a mini split versus a traditional AC. Heritage, you can see, is the only person that actually did that. So Heritage gave us a price on a mini split, 62, 47, 42, and they gave us a price on a more traditional AC system for 88, 31, 58. Hanrahan AC Service came out and gave us a quote last week, just on a traditional system that includes all the equipment, supplies, labor, and also moving the air handler out of the attic where it's currently wedged. There's like not enough room up there for it. Whoever put it up there before actually had to cut some rafters to make it fit. So Hanrahan said that probably needs to come out. So this is a price for the new unit and installing the air handler in. They're going to try to retrofit it in one of the cabinets, the built-in cabinets in that room. $7,500. And then today Jacob Heating and Air came out. I'm sorry, they actually came out last week. So you can see on theirs, they gave me two different prices. The top line for Jacob, $83.23, that's to install the air handler back in the attic. He said he had a model that may fit. Or if we want to just install it on the wall directly underneath where it is in the attic now, he can install it on the wall for $81.59. So not a huge price difference, but a little bit more labor to get it up in the attic. We've actually had a couple people ask us about mounting the air handler to the wall inside horizontally by the ceiling, which in that room, it's just a records room. We're not really concerned about the look of that. So, that's fine with me if it's fine with you. In the future, if you're going to rent some rooms further down, tenants may not want to see a giant air handler on the wall. So that might be something we talk about later on. But for the records room, however they can get it in there, I don't know if you have an opinion, but we don't care. So, but that would make Hanrahan AC the lowest quote on that one.
The quote, I don't remember, because I was there when the guy from Jacobs was there with you.
Mm-hmm.
To mount that thing on the wall, weren't we talking about having to take that sheetrock down and mount it on the concrete block? I don't remember.
We didn't know what was behind it. He never did get up there and look to see, did they put in studs when they did all that sheetrock, or what could they anchor to? So.
My concern is if they have to take that down and anchor to the concrete wall, I don't know if that's going to increase the
right
quote on this.
Well, and I will tell you that also, just for information, the AC that was there was 3 ton. The quotes that we got were all 2.5 because the room's not full of children, so it probably doesn't have to work as hard to cool and dehumidify that room. But everyone said that based on the square footage and the number of returns, that a 2.5 was perfectly adequate for out there. So if anyone wanted to know why it was less than the one that's currently there. And, you know, the mini split is still there. Heritage claims that it's okay to put one in there, but the other 3 AC people that we have talked to, one of which was Total Comfort, but they didn't get us a quote by today like they said they would, so that's not in here. But we did see them and talk to them. Neither of the other 3 really liked the mini split idea for various reasons. One company said it took them a month to 2 months to get parts on the ones that went out this summer. One of them said that there's really not a lot that you can do to clean it. If it has to be cleaned, you have to have someone basically come take it apart and clean it. So you'd be paying more probably in service to the AC company. So none of them acted like they even wanted to give us a price on a mini split for that.
Most of the other ones too also said that the traditional air conditioning would probably be better for keeping our moisture down. And
they think it probably wouldn't have to work it would be more efficient. Because a mini split's going to run all the time, essentially. And there was concern about the size of that room and the height of the ceiling, if a mini split would pull enough moisture out of there to keep the humidity where it should be. So.
I don't see, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm overlooking it, any warranty information on the Hanrahan quote?
I didn't even discuss that with him. I could email him for clarification. I know he wrote the equipment, the model number and all down there. But we didn't even, Gray was with me, we never even asked.
We didn't talk about it. I mean, I was under the assumption that the warranty period would be the warranty period for the unit. Exactly. I mean, no matter if you have
that's all that Robbie has on his warranty.
Yeah.
Is how long the compressor and stuff.
5-year part and compressor warranty.
I mean, each company has their own warranty time
With
period.
additional 5 years, if unit is registered within 60 days within install.
That's on Heritage.
5-year part and compressor warranty with an additional 5 years if unit is registered 60 days within install. So that's 10-year warranty, right?
That's the way I read it. That's on the non-split, that's the traditional, right? You're looking at.
8831.
The mini split's 7 years on the compressor and 5 years on the part.
So it's about a $1,300 difference between Robbie's and Hanrahan's.
Yeah, Heritage is 8,800 and Hanrahan is 7,500 basically.
And Jacob is actually in between the two of them, so I don't. Does Jacob have their warranty on here?
It's so small I can't read it. Jacob one?
Oh yeah, warranty. Jacob's is compressor and T-stat are 5-year, parts and labor 1 year. It's off to if you follow the line across, like where it says A, comfort maker, and then you go across, there's a column toward the end before price that says warranty years. And it has it broken down.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
T-stat parts and compressor. So 5-year on the compressor and thermostat and 1 year on parts and labor.
What do you guys think?
Well, I've had, as far as air conditioner, I've had better. As far as getting it worked on with Robbie than I have anybody else. I've tried other people and it don't do no good. You can call Robbie and if there's a problem, he'll come fix it.
My experience with Heritage Air, Robbie has also been good. I mean, anytime I've called him, he's responding promptly.
Well, I mean, he is our local pick, so I mean, but we still have to get quotes from other places to make it all legit.
But he's always been good about coming, just like he come when the town needed him to come over here and try to get all this straightened out over here the best he could. But
Well, the thing that sold me is, are you reading what I'm saying about the additional 5-year warranty?
Yes.
I mean, that's
a big deal right there.
a big deal to me.
Yeah, it is a big deal. And, he's always been very prompt to take care of anything I've ever asked him to do. And the only experience I have with, hand-to-hand AC is that, I know they did the AC installations, the regular AC installations at, Pierson Family Restaurant. And he seems to be happy with their service as well. I don't know that, I don't know anything about them. I am familiar with Heritage, and like Jimmy said, they've always been good about taking care of everything.
and they're local. They don't get that far from us. They're coming when you call
Did they Ryan, did they just talk about where they were gonna locate the air handler, Heritage?
I didn't talk to Heritage on that one. I'm assuming they were just gonna
Well,
try to.
it
place
says
back.
attic install.
Yeah,
Put it right back in the attic.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the attic install is if you have a drain pan overflow. But, I mean, there's a lot of, safety procedures now to prevent that. I would entertain a motion from, anyone on, who they would recommend or make a motion to approve, install our AC unit in that room. We need to have it done.
I move to approve Heritage Heat and Air for the air temp split HP 14.3 SEER 3-ton unit in the amount of $8,831.58.
The motion was made by Councilwoman Lenny Richardson to go with Heritage Air on our new air conditioner for our records room in the amount of $8,831.58. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion is seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. Would you do a roll call vote on that if you want to?
Councilwoman Brittany Peterson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynn Richardson,
Yes.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Ray Leonard.
Yes. So the motion for Heritage Heating and Air to put our air conditioner in for $88.31.58 is approved and carried. Next item on the agenda is 6B, moving the burn pile. Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
Thank you. Yes, we had discussed the issues regarding our ability to burn. The criteria is it can't be blowing to the east. It can't be blowing towards either of the schools. So we have the property on County Road 3 where the dumpster is, which is it 10 acres, Ryan, is what it was determined to be?
I don't remember what the actual lot is, but I mean, they're clearing 1 acre.
Yes.
It's considerably larger than that portion, that part of the lot.
So I just think that'd be a much more feasible area to utilize for a burn area.
We already approved that. Now you gotta approve to get, who's gonna clear it?
Yeah, but
I know you're
moving burn
tired.
pile.
Was listed as moving the burn pile.
Here's all the
It was
quotes.
tabled.
Well, we tabled it
To
because
get another
we
quote.
needed to get more quotes on it.
Okay.
I'm tired too, but go ahead.
I'm very tired, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Okay, so yes, we have before us some quotes to clear that property.
We only have 2 on that one. I couldn't get a third person.
Okay, that's fine. Kaylin Ruth, KR Land Development, gave us a quote. They'll remove the fence, do the whole thing for $3,500.
Very last page.
Okay. Live oak fence, same type thing. Their quote was $5,000.
Is there anybody have a motion on who to approve on this?
I make a motion to go with KR Land Development for $3,500 to clear the 1 acre site to have the new burn pile where the dumpster is now on County Road 3.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to have K&R Land Development clear our site for our new burn area in the amount of $3,500. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Randy Pierson, seconded by Councilmember Jimmy Anderson. Call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, item 6C, the trees on Short Street. Councilwoman Minnie R. Richardson.
Thank you. Well, a hurricane didn't come, so the trees are still standing. There is, did you put the pictures in here, Ryan? No.
I didn't put the pictures in here now, but we measured them, so.
Right, there are one tree, a cluster of 4 trees, and the one tree in the middle of the median. And we have received quotes from Kaylin, KR Land Development, for $4,900, which includes stump grinding.
No, well.
No?
$3,750 for the 3
Okay.
that you just mentioned, but then today we had someone call and add a 4th tree on the other side of the street that they
Okay.
think needs to come down. So I called everybody back and said, can you add that as a separate line item? Because I don't know if you want to approve all of it or just the 3 we talked about last week. You know, the 4th one will probably have to come down one day, but.
So this total of $4,900 is for the tree that.
That's
all of them.
Yeah, because see the where it says 167 Short Street, 1150.
Okay.
So that's the second, that's the tree they added to.
That's the additional tree.
Yeah, but the 3,750 was for the other 2 and the cluster. So
Yeah.
it was a total of 4,900 for all of it.
We also got a quote from Fidel Velasquez.
What a bargain.
$12,500.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And then we got one from M&B, which is Charles Gay, and his is $4,000. and 1,000 additional for the one tree that was added, so 5,000.
Charles' total is 5,000.
So here's all I'll say about this.
Yes.
Oh, are you gonna say it? So 4,900 for Kalen, but that includes our guys
Our
loading
dump
up our dump truck and gas and all that and taking it to our burn pile, whereas Charles for $5,000 does
Does it all.
And it takes them
That's a no-brainer.
Well,
No
that's-
public
But it's
works.
only $100 difference.
it's $100 difference, but with, K&R, our guys have to be involved in.
Right,
all
and our
that.
vehicle and all, yeah, no.
But for $5,000, we don't have to do anything.
Correct.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve M&B tree service in the amount of $5,000 to, move and grind the stumps on Short Street.
Is there a second? Motion made by Lynn Richardson. Is there a second? Seconded by Brandy Peterson. We're ready for the question. All those in favor of having M&B Tree Services remove the 6 trees on Short Street plus the 1 additional tree at 167 Short Street for a total of $5,000. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. All right, item number 7, other business, council and staff reports. I don't have anything. Christian,
Nope, nothing further.
do you have anything, Jimmy?
All I've got is I went by and seen Lewis today over there at the barn. 'Cause I've been hunting, I've been gone. And he was having trouble with that new tractor. And he found out that that's a safety feature on it.
What exactly was happening?
When you go to put on your brakes, it kind of locks things up where you're not, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but
It goes from 2-wheel to 4-wheel drive so that it protects so that the tractor will stop. The minute you hit the gas to accelerate, it goes back to 2.
Okay, so it's a safety feature.
so it's just a
Stop
safety
quicker.
feature. But other than that, they said they were doing fine over there. Except the mowers was down,
What's wrong with
What's
that?
wrong with them?
We just had them all
the
fixed.
tires.
Oh, because,
Just because of the tires, they didn't have them for a few days.
yeah, but they're back on now,
They're
right?
back on
Yeah,
and
okay.
Chris told me they were,
Okay.
They're all back.
they're back going.
Everything is operational.
Yeah, the new tires, it took quite a while for
Yeah.
them to put them on,
Mhm.
for some reason. I don't know why. It don't take long to put on a tire.
No.
Well, I think their tire machine probably set up for automobile tires and not those smaller wheels. That's probably it.
But other than that, they were doing just fine up there.
Councilwoman Lenny Richardson.
No, sir.
I do not either. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend.
Does anybody in the audience have anything they'd like to add? Yes, Paul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I've been waiting for this all afternoon. First of all, I'd like to take a personal point of privilege and congratulate you, Mr. Mayor, for winning the election, and also for you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Good job, both of you. If you remember back many, many, many years I've been doing this. And I'm back again to ask for a Christmas present. You know what that is? A sound system. When you gentlemen and ladies speak, Lenny, I give you kudos. I can understand you sometimes. But when you put your paper in front of your lips, Mr. Mayor, gone. I read lips. I know I'm just one person, but I've been asking and asking and asking. And if I remember correctly, the last time at the bank, when we move into the new place, you'll be able to hear horse manure. Now, I hope I'm not the only person. I'm sure everybody has perfect hearing. I don't. I would really appreciate if you would instruct and get some prices on the possibility of getting sound system. I'm not talking fancy schmancy. I'm talking a normal enhancement of your voice. Maybe a microphone for you, a microphone, and possibly, well, Mark don't need it. Seriously, I'm making light of this. But I can't be the only person that can't hear you. Up there, I'm quite sure you can hear each other because of the acoustics. Out here, forget about it. So I'm asking you.
Maybe we need to speak up in the meantime, maybe.
If you have the sound system, I think it would improve because believe me, sir, people speak at the level they speak.
I agree.
And they're not gonna change. You need enhancement. So if you would investigate with the possibility, make it a New Year's Eve celebration, that'd be great. December 6th? No, December 8th is the thingamajig?
When is our Christmas dinner? I don't have that sheet.
Oh,
12.
12, right?
What
What are you asking?
about?
Supper.
Our Christmas dinner.
December 12th, will you never,
I'm sorry.
December 12th
At
at 6
6.
p.m.
Just verifying
At Castaways.
at Castaway. Thank you for letting me say these few words.
You're welcome.
It's important to me. All right, thank you. And furthermore, with the possibility I may be able to assist, a couple pennies. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else? Brian.
Just as a FYI, Lenny and I both talked to Louis Trivet at Volusia County. He's hoping to schedule the triple culvert repair on North Road sometime in mid-December prior to the holiday. I think he told Lenny it might be closer to the end of December.
Yes, he did. He said, don't hate me.
But he
He
hasn't
said it's
forgotten.
just been catastrophic with all the damage from the storms. He said, you know.
And that needs a little more lime rock thrown in the whole mess. Getting pretty rough.
It is rough.
Do we have any lime rock at the yard? Maybe we could take care of that ourselves.
Oh,
Add a
yeah.
little lime rock to it and knock it back.
A bucket full will probably level it back out pretty good.
Can you get with the guys and
Won't
see
be
if
no
make that
doubt.
happen? Anything else?
Really doctors, so we can-
No further business. Meeting adjourned.
You have to get
that'll be great.